because we're so afraid of moving into the next version of our beautiful soul-led life. We hold on to things, especially if the current version of our beautiful soul-led life is pretty. Welcome, bienvenue, bonjour to the Beautiful Soul-Led Life podcast. For women who desire to awaken their heartfelt desires, trust themselves fully, and connect with their soul's purpose through beauty. On y va. Let's go. Hello, bonjour, and welcome to the Beautiful Soul-Led Life podcast. This is Marino. If you've been following along, I am now back in the States. We spent the last couple of weeks in Paris. It was my third trip back in about maybe 3 months. And I already cannot wait to get back. I love it here, love it in the Outer Banks, about to go for a walk on the beach with my husband, and yet Paris just, it's Paris. It's Paris. And it's calling me. It's calling me back. After living there for 7 years and then coming here to the States, having this beautiful experience of watching my boys go through high school here, some things are changing. The tides are turning. We'll just say it that way. And that is actually something that I want to bring forward today on the Beautiful Soul-Led Life podcast. So as always, I am, this podcast for me is a source of inspiration for myself as well, to really be authentic in the unfoldings of what it looks like, what it feels like, what we experience as we move into versions and new versions of our beautiful soul-led life. So there's something really timely that's coming up for me, and I imagine if it's present for me, I might not be the only one. So what I want to speak about and what I want to bring forward today is the courage that it takes to live into a new version of our beautiful soul-led life. So as we start committing to our desires, as we start committing to prioritizing what it is that's really calling us forward, we begin to have experiences that we only dreamed of, right? The things that we had on our vision board that, oh my gosh, one day I would love to do this. I'd love to experience this, whether it's anywhere, like where you want to live, a relationship, what it is you're doing for your job, or if you're an entrepreneur, right? These visions that we have for ourselves. And then, as life would have it, things come to completion. Now, this is not the first time that I've had this conversation. However, it probably won't be the last time either, because this is how our beautiful soul-led life works. This is how it unravels and reveals itself. That we move into one version of our beautiful soul-led life, and then before we know it, that's being called to completion, and that there's another version. Now, what can be really challenging is when it's something that we've always wanted and we're experiencing it, and then all of a sudden something starts to shift. The energy starts to change, and our minds and our egos don't like this. We like to argue with ourselves, but I always wanted this. Right? Anyone else would be thrilled with this. What's wrong with me? Why do I not want this anymore? Why does it not have the same juice for me? Maybe I should try harder. Maybe I haven't done it well enough. Maybe I need to put in more time, more energy, more attention, because we're so afraid of moving into the next version of our beautiful soul-led life. We hold on to things, especially if the current version of our beautiful soul-led life is pretty. If it's pretty good, if we like it, okay. No, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Most people would love this. And yet, when we're really, really honest with ourselves, it's like, oh, there's something more. There's something more for me. So I'm going to invite you to really feel into this week and be really honest with the subtle whispers of your soul. Our souls came here to experience. Our souls came here to learn, to remember. the truth of who we are. And as we're called into certain versions of our beautiful soul-led life, with the support of our indie, our Frenchie, and New Yorker, this is reflected back to us, right? Who are we inside of this version? What are we remembering about ourselves? What is it that's here for us to enjoy? And what is it that's here for us to allow ourselves to experience? These are the phases that we move through inside of our beautiful soul-led life. And as a version of your beautiful soul-led life is coming to completion, you'll start to feel this tug mixed with, in my experience, some discontentment that can feel very frustrating and confusing, some kind of nebulous kind of feeling of being in the middle of something not quite being brought to completion and something quite not starting yet, but this calling of, oh, now it's really, really scary. And if we look at it through the indie and the support of our indie, the indie, as you may know if you've been following along with Elegant Femme, is the femme type that supports us to increase our capacity to receive. This is also the femme type that supports us with our identity, who I know myself to be. We all have a version of who we know ourselves to be, based on our experiences, based on what it is we've allowed up until this point. Your indie is here to support you in who you want to remember that you are. So above and beyond the current set point, above and beyond the current limitation that your mind might be able to wrap its head around about who you are and what you're capable of. Our indie femme type stretches us into this next version of, who do I require to know myself as? Who am I being called to know myself as? So to put this in an example, say you're at a current position in your job and you've reached, sales manager, and it was something you've always wanted, and now you're at the top of the company, and there's something inside going, I really want to be a firefighter. I can feel it. I've been called. This is in me. And your ego's going, what are you doing? You're at the top of your company. You're making really good money. You do not know a thing about firefighting. I've heard that firefighter test is really challenging. You're old. Don't you know you're old? How are you going to jump that wall or whatever it is, right? And if you really listen to your indie might be saying, you want to remember that you're strong and courageous and that you're here to serve in new ways. Right? So above and beyond the set point and into the remembering. And new versions of our beautiful soul-led life call us forward in this way. Again, that leap is so, so scary because the identification is, I don't know myself that way yet. And I'm afraid of what will I be like? What will people think? How will they recognize me? I feel valuable for where I am. I know how people respond to me. I don't know who I am in that next version. Here's where your Frenchie can come in to support you. The Frenchie femme type being that femme type that supports us in increasing our capacity for pleasure. And this is not just physical pleasure, as we've talked about many, many times. This is the awareness of you to know what pleases you. But again, this is above and beyond the mind. This is into the conversation of your soul and what pleases you. We're not talking about a narcissistic, small, ego-driven what pleases me and who am I. We're talking about a bigger context of who am I remembering I am and what am I here to truly enjoy? What pleases me? What moves me forward into new realms of joy and recognition that I can prioritize my soul's calling. So feeling into your Frenchie and that what brings you joy, what allows you to feel alive. And this can feel really scary too, right? We get really good at what we're doing or the current atmosphere that we might be in because it feels somewhat comfortable. But when we start to get a little desensitized to life, been there, done that, got the t-shirt kind of feeling, your beautiful soul-led life might be calling you into a new version. And then, of course, we have the New Yorker, the femme type that supports us in allowing. Allowing what? Allowing prosperity, allowing power, allowing the courage to have the experience that you're truly, truly seeking. From this awareness, from this foundation, the New Yorker femme type supports us in aligning with the actions that are most congruent with the next unfolding of our beautiful soul-led life. So what I'm going to invite you to feel into this week is, what is your next version of your beautiful soul-led life? When you sit in the silence, when you really deeply listen, what are you being called towards? What is that? So listen this week. See what shows up for you. And, it might be that I just turned 48. It might be a midlife thing. It might be, I don't know, but it's really up. It's been up for me since for a while. And I want to just share it here because it does take a lot of courage for us to gift ourselves permission to bring one version of our beautiful soul-led life to completion and really leap into the next. So let me know how this episode serves you. Short and sweet. What are we at? We're 10 minutes something. Let me know how it serves you. And I also want to share with you that we still have some gorgeous special pricing for our Amour program. Our Amour program is for any woman who is looking to embody her feminine and receive more love. This is not just for couples, and this is not your average relationship program. We're going to be going deep into opening your heart, surrendering, letting go of control, and knowing how to ask for what it is you desire. All of these so that you can gift yourself permission to receive life more fully. So if that's of interest to you, we'll go ahead and put that link in the show notes. And as a bonus for that, you're going to be the first to receive the very first issue of Tara's Paris. And this first issue of Tara's Paris is going to be all about fashion. So we're going to be doing a beautiful digital magazine of the insights of fashion inside of Paris, my favorite brands. We're going to be giving you the links to those, some outfit ideas, and just a beautiful unfolding of fashion in Paris. So if you want to get your hands on that and be the first to get your hands on that, that is a bonus inside of our Amour program. So again, for this week, leaning back, and again, without force, right? If you're in a place in your life right now where you're like, no, I just moved into a new version of my beautiful soul-led life, I am good, then you honor that, right? This is for you if you know there's a calling, if you know there's a shift, if you know there's an inkling inside that you're being called to move towards a new version of your beautiful soul-led life, for you to sit with yourself, for you to really receive that inner knowing, for you to deeply listen to all of your FemmeTypes, and that middle space between where we are in completion and where we are in the next beginning can be very, very uncomfortable. But this is the space of receiving. We receive in this space. So with that, I'm sending you a lot of love. Happy Frenchy Friday. And I will see you next week. Welcome, bienvenue, bonjour to the Beautiful Soul-Led Life podcast. For women who desire to awaken their heartfelt desires, trust themselves fully, and connect with their soul's purpose through beauty. On y va. Let's go.